YouTube, it's Tone back with another one. This one is called Zero Your Account. Now, I think I did a brief video on this maybe a year ago or something like that. This is the whole book, which isn't even that. It's 17. What's it called? It's 17 slides. So uh, it's not that many, and I mean it's mostly ones like you're gonna be seeing next. So it ain't like a million things to go over. But I'm gonna have to touch on and go into detail on a couple of these things here because I have incorporated some of these principles. So like this here isn't gonna be all that you need. This is some of the major components of putting together a filing. You know what I'm saying? So this is not gonna be. And I mean, you're never really gonna find everything online. Maybe at some point I'll fucking do that, but I probably won't. You know why? I mean, I'll put everybody else's shit out there for free, and somebody will probably put mine out there for free too, which they probably should do. You know what I'm saying? I can make a video about that. I'm not fucking doing it. You could though. So, what was I gonna say? So yeah, something to keep in mind. So look, so let's get into this here. So, so it says study material only. Think and draw your own conclusion. Everything in life is a voluntary process. Take responsibility for it. Life is what we make it. And it is. Always has been and always will be. You know what I'm saying? So, the problem comes when they start having people believe that a lot of their life is, is a result of an outside force, right? Which, essentially strips you of the responsibility of having to take responsibility for your own fucking actions. You know what I'm saying? You just want to blame it on somebody. You don't blame it on God. You don't blame it on the fucking devil or something like that, right? Maybe it was you. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. So a Republican form of government is not a spectator sport. And that's the thing too, is that nobody wants to fucking do anything. Everybody thinks somebody else is gonna do it when the people that they're waiting to fucking make the change for them are getting rich by not making the change for them. So that shit is not gonna fucking happen. You're not gonna have You're not gonna have these people that are robbing you just stop because you said please. Are you fucking kidding me? So vengeance, the best manner of avenging ourselves is by not resembling him who has injured us. And this is what they say too, right? That that's the ultimate test is when the power's in your hand. What do you do with it? As if you're even supposed to act a certain way when you do get the power in your hand, like you're supposed to give your whoever was trying to kill you, give them some fucking type of mercy. You know what I'm saying? Shut the fuck up. That's another program. So you don't kill them when you catch them. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Fuck out of here, bro. So number one is taxes. Taxes supersede contract law because of your Treasury direct account, your social security number due to the bankruptcy. Always address every issue in court as a tax issue. You're not in law, you're in tax court. And that's what I tell everybody too. And that's the biggest thing is understanding that everything is commercial ultimately. And when I first started this channel, that was my main goal. It was to just inform people of the commercial nature of the judicial system in order for them to be able to navigate accordingly, right? Because they have you thinking that it's really something else, but it isn't. Shit is all really taxes, and these fucking people are just businesses. That's what the fuck is happening. That's really what's happening. I mean, if you want to get down to the fucking, to like, what the fuck is going on? You got businesses pretending to be fucking actual lawful courts. That's what's happening. So number two, in contract law, oral contract, written contract, and performance contract. Number two. So these contracts can be legally binding whether they're oral, written, or performance. So based on your performance or based on how you're acting, they would assume that you do have a valid contract. And they do this in a few different ways by asking you to do things, asking you to stand up, to sit down. You're performing, and now they're placing you into a adhesion contract at that point, right? Or implied contract because you listen to them. So these are the fucking stupid ass games that they play, right? And then they're gonna justify it in their mind as to why they're able to fucking abuse you after that because you stood up when they told you to stand up. So now you're in their contract and they can do whatever they want with you. These are the games that these fucking clowns play. Okay, so I mean, I can get real fucking petty too. To be honest with you, I can play that game better than you can. to be honest with you. So performance contract is the most damaging to us. If we act like defendant and argue the law or resist zeroing your account, we are in commercial dishonor. And that's what I like to mention as well. You're not going to go there to argue the charge so much to settle the matter if that's what your intention is, or more so just to make a record for the Criminal Investigations Division of the IRS to take a look at what the fuck these people are actually doing. You know what I'm saying? So there's different ways to actually fucking approach this, but when you really do get a handle on this, you're going to understand that everything is really a tax issue, and this shit is all commercial maritime courts that you have going on here. This is merchant courts, and they're trying to just basically put everybody's case into and make it commercial to give themselves jurisdiction. So if we act like a defendant and argue law or resist zeroing your account, we are in commercial dishonor. And that's not true, because you don't necessarily have to fucking agree to all the shit that they send you. You can absolutely fucking reject that shit as well. You have 72 hours to reject that, and if you don't reject it within that time, you can send in an affidavit and formally reject it that way. And if it's because of a contract that you're obligated to perform in any given manner, right, which you would have entered the contract initially for your own good, and they as the trustees would have been there to ensure that you are benefiting from the situation, right? So that's how that would work initially. So if at any point you feel that the contract is not benefiting you anymore, you can go ahead and fill out an affidavit of rescission and pull your signature off of that contract and rescind the contract essentially. And the contract, according to law, would be as if it never was. Okay. So when you start arguing with these people, you're breathing life into their fucking fictional nonsense claim, therefore giving it life. And now you would need a referee, which is a man in a fucking black dress, that's going to come to adjudicate the situation. Adjudicate the situation. You know what I'm saying? So the forms to be ordered here are the 1099 OID and the 1096. The 1096 is kind of a cover letter, and it also identifies the amount being claimed as a withheld federal tax, which is what the fuck it is. So order forms for years, you know, whatever your year is and all that. So you can do these online too now. Okay, that's how I do mine online. You can just do it online. You set this letter from the IRS within like 3 days, and then you can go ahead, print that out, and send it to them dumbasses so they can correct their books. Send it all via a notary. So this is all based on HJR 192, June 5th, 1933. Did all that shit actually happen at that point? Who fucking knows? I wasn't there. But this is what they say. This is the game that they play. So according to these rules here, this is why you can do that, okay? So the Treasury direct account. So you got the federal government, state government, and the debtor corporations. They're all using your credit to survive, okay? That's why your name's in this system and all that too, because they're basically acting as trustee or the administrator for the public trust, which your name is in there. And every time it gets brought up, they're allowed to go ahead and tax that ass because they're saying that that you somehow benefited from their what do you call it, position in your life. So they came into your life as a fucking blessing, and you should get taxed for that, right? So I mean, maybe they did, you know what I'm saying? But either way, when you find out about what happened, they need to give that shit back, you know what I'm saying? So was it in your benefit? Yeah, maybe after you find out and get that fucking check back, maybe it is, but it might not seem that way at the time. You know what I mean? So the Treasury direct account, Social Security number is your Treasury direct account and your name. Your credit, when used by anyone, you or them, has to be reported as taxable income on the 1040 and 1099 OID, 1096 and 1040V to the IRS every year. 1040V is the voucher, essentially, right? And so that basically is going to pay for whatever the transaction was that took place. So whatever you file, regardless, always make sure you get one of them in there, 1040V. All right, so to the IRS every year. So your Treasury direct account must be kept at zero, just like your checkbook. This is why you have to file your taxes. Everything is a tax soon, that's the thing. So every interaction that you've had with any entity at all throughout the whole year needs to be reported on these particular documents. So make sure that you always get their EIN and their DBAs and their bond numbers and things like that whenever you come into contact with them, because you will have to be filing this on a 1099. Okay, so all debtors had to use your credit to pay all their bills so they could function in commerce. And that's the thing too. I mean, when you look at, how are they even making all these cars and, everything that we're going out here and buying in all these stores and shit like that if there is no fucking money? They're using your credit to build all that shit, and then they're recharging you again every time you walk in there and ask for it when it's already paid for. Because how the fuck would you have made it to begin with? What'd you pull on that? Like, what? What? Come on, man. So HCR 192, the product is already paid for because they use your credit to build and pay for it. However, the bill is a new offer, and it tells us how much of your credit was already used. And that's what I'm saying. So every month you're getting a new offer from these people until you reject it. Now you don't have to fight with these people. You know what I'm saying? You could open up a trust account and then just recycle all of your credits into that. Like, you don't have to really fight with these people like that, but you can. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you do got to start somewhere. So why not start with these people? It'd probably be easier than fighting with the courthouse. You know what I mean? So, and the courthouse does take this shit personal. These motherfuckers do not like to lose. Let me tell you that. So that's crazy coming from losers. You know what I'm saying? So right here it says, we are not attorneys. Nor are we acting in any capacity as legal counsel. The information provided within these pages is intended for education of the reader only, for entertainment purposes, And while we believe this information to be true and correct, it is not offered in any way as legal advice. Therefore, it is entirely up to the reader to seek appropriate legal advice before acting upon any information contained in these pages. All right, so basically, you're a fucking grown up, start acting like one. And if you think that you're gonna fucking see something on my page and then go do it, and then fucking cry when the feds fucking knock on your door because you just saw one video and fucking tried some shit, you're not putting that shit on me. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what the fuck that's saying. So, and if that happens, then you're a fucking asshole anyway, to be honest with you. So HCR 192 automatically extended the privilege to renege on debts to every person using the Federal Reserve banking system. However, never forget that when you operate on a privilege, you have to respect the ruler of the giver of that privilege. Furthermore, in the case of Great Falls Manufacturing Company versus Attorney General, the court said the court will not pass upon the constitutionality of a statute at the instance of one who has availed himself of its benefits. So pretty much you're saying that you can't use the Constitution as a claim to anything. If you're taking benefits from these people, then essentially you're a fucking employee of theirs, and then you're subject to their bullshit, right? So that is true, right? But if you ever end up on the chopping block and you're good with that, realize that you might have fucked up, you can rescind that contract, affidavit of rescission. So thus, if you avail yourself to any of the benefits of the public credit system, you waive the right to challenge the validity of any statute pertaining to and conferring benefits of the system on the basis of constitutionality, which is fine. Because of what they're saying now is that you're stuck in maritime jurisdiction, well, then that's okay. And if what they're demanding out of it, and it really is the tax, is a payment that you cannot pay, then all you can do is accept for value any of the charges that are being brought toward you anyway. You know what I'm saying? So really, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. But when you understand contracts, it doesn't matter what the fuck side of the field that you're on. Or even if you're public private, it doesn't matter as long as you understand what contract law is. You'll be fine. So sample. The states figured out the easiest way to use your credit to pay their bills, build roads, schools, courthouses. They decided that the easiest way was to use block grants and a blocked ed grant, education grant. They block us from using our credit, but they use it. Our merchants use block grants against us when they don't send a check. So when anyone uses our credit, you and them, we as owners or principal of our Treasury direct accounts, that's your social and your name, have to report this taxable income every year on a 1040, 1099 OID, 1096, and 1040V. The county attorney in every state writes a check for the entire county's needs and signs your name to it by assumption. By signing your name to it, it looks like you have income in the amount of the check. All income has to be reported to the IRS on a 1040, 1099 OID, 1096, and 1040V. All governments and corporations use this method. The only way we know who is definitely using our credit is when we get the bill in the mail or receipt from them. And that's why when anybody's making a claim at all, ever, just tell them to send you the fucking bill, because how do you expect me to pay it unless you send me the bill? That goes for anybody, even if you're in court, for fraud, for damage, for theft, even that shit, which is a crime. Okay, now they're going to have to send you the bill, which means they're going to have to cut you a check. You know what I'm saying? Which is fucking crazy. Right, but if you ever ended up in bill for, say, like a $3 million fraud, boom, and you're like, all right, cool. So you guys are saying that so obviously this is a civil matter to begin with, right? You guys are saying that I owe XYZ. So if you just send me the bill, then I can take care of it for you. You know what I'm saying? So what they'll do is have to literally go into your estate and cut you a check for the $3 million to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? You could just take that, put your hand on it, hit them with a 1099 A and C, cancel the whole debt, and you stay with that $3 million check. Now, you want to play chess? You want to play that fucking checkers, you know what I mean? Come on. Fuck out of here. So, should have never let me read a book. You know what I'm saying? That's where you fucked up. So, when anyone uses our credit, you have to file these forms. Okay? So, that means any presentment that you've gotten from anyone. You know what I mean? So, once you file your yearly 1040, 1099 OID, 1096, and 1040V, the IRS will pull all of your credit from everyone who has used it under your trust account, Treasury Direct account, your social, even the ones you don't know about. If you do not file every year, the Treasury Direct account shows you didn't declare all your taxable income, your credit. Therefore, you are a tax delinquent fugitive, which is a criminal charge, and you file your taxes to get your credit, your refund back, right? And the OID is going to get you your refund there too. You know what I mean? So why this is not fraud? On their first offer to us, it may be an offer to enable us to obtain our credit back on the 1040, 1099 OID, 1096, and 1040V forms, which is contract law. Having assumed the use of our credit is not fraud. The only error by them is that they assume that our income is what? Let's see what it is. Is credit that they use is tax exempt. It's not tax exempt until we file it by filing our 1040, 1099 OID, 1096, and 1040V, and it is all taxable. The way that I write it off, I write it as a gift from the gift and estate side of my decedent estate. I write it as a gift to the Treasury Department, taxable at 100%, and then I take it back as a withheld federal tax, and then I think whoever sent the bill gets a bill for that too. So keep the envelopes, but they are your first offer from the IRS. Now, this is just going to go into the $300 for the penalty for private use, because whenever the IRS sends you a bill, for anything private, that's pretty much a violation. So the envelope is actually a check, and you can just go ahead and write that in as a federal withheld tax. So they're paying you $300 just to take their envelope privately. So I mean, I've actually done this too, and so you just do that and just put it on your return, and just send a copy of that. You know what I mean? I just send a copy of that. It ain't a big deal because they get the money too. So you write them a money order, they deposit that amount into themselves, and then they cut you a check for that also. So who is the Department of the Treasury Internal Revenue Service? They are the bookkeepers for your credit, your Treasury Direct account, your social. Your Treasury Direct account is just like your checkbook. It must be kept within a reasonable balance. The IRS will send you a bill if it gets on the far side of taxable income side out of balance. The 1040, 1099 OID, and so like every time I contact the IRS, I always tell them to send me any bills of anything of whatever is outstanding, right? And they always say that I don't have anything there. But I mean, because really it's a check, and I mean, so I know what it is. So maybe they won't send me any more bills. So the 1040, 1099 OID, 1096, and 1040V is filed every year. Brings your Treasury Direct account back to zero. It is your account and your responsibility to keep your account within reason. Your credit is taxable income. You have to declare your income. The use of your credit has to be reported, whether you use it or they use it. If you don't keep your Treasury Direct account at zero yearly, they may charge you with criminal charges and hold your body as collateral until you zero out the Treasury Direct account. You are a delinquent fugitive. All taxes are federal taxes. There is no such thing as a state tax. And that's a fact because all of these supposed states, basically are getting their EINs, DBAs from the IRS essentially, right? They're going to have to answer to them at some fucking point. So, and the fact that all these states are taking federal money makes them a federal agency. So they're going to be subject to all of the federal laws. So, if you don't find, the bullshit that they're talking about in any federal codes or statutes, then they can just shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. So the truth on your tax return can only be agreed to by another 1040 or 1040V. If anyone tries to invent a false claim on a 1040 or 1040V, it would be perjury. Otherwise, all he or she would do is agree with you, and it makes it a civil matter. That's why any assumed agreement must go on a 1040, 1040V to compel someone to commit perjury. Debts cannot be written off until they have been assessed as a tax on the 1040, 1040V. The corporations cannot charge or assess taxes. They can collect them, but they can't write off tax losses because they cannot assess them. they need the accused person to not assess the tax, which is a commercial protest and dishonor. So they're trying to get you to become a fucking delinquent by sending you the bill and making you think that you have to pay for it, when you fucking don't, which is crazy that they even fucking able to do that shit. That's straight, that's straight mail fraud. So right here you have the credit side, which is the debits, and you get the credits on the public side, which is going to be debt. So yeah, this is just going through the different ways to. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, basically just showing how that little system there works. Really isn't too much information there. So when using the pay to the United States Treasury on a bill along with the 1040V, this is a streamlined version. This means you have to assess the charges tax account and it goes to zero. The 1040V is a tax return which assesses charges to the account. It replaces the long 1040 form and it uses a particular issue. Money order, when using the money order on a bill along with the 1040V, send the originals to IRS along with the original 1040V. Send copies to whomever sent you the bill. You have the option of doing the 1099 OID and 1096. 1099 OID identifies me as the sponsor of the credit that funded the Treasury bill in the first place and is also taking the bill to exempt status. So 1040 used for our yearly, quarterly tax return, or the 1099 OID, 1096, and 1040V. Yeah, because you can do it quarterly, annually, however you want to do it. I mean monthly. You know what I mean? There's even people who do that shit. I mean, I send mine out, twice, maybe sometimes three times a month. So the 1040V used for a particular issue or bill throughout the year. But you can use this for every bill that you get. Study the transcript on both the 1040 and 1040V are a tax return which charges the assessed bill tax return for a refund returned to source. The bill account has to be charged on a 1040 or a 1040V to return to source. These two documents assess the taxable income that is still in any and all accounts. The 1040 assessment is a charge to zero the account. Assessed and charged as a tax because there is no money. And so that's what it is. It's debits and credits, right? So essentially what you're doing is returning it to source, which is you, because that's where the credit came from initially. So what I do is just send it back to the Treasury, and that's what this money order here is doing. If you look at it here at the bottom, sending it back to the Treasury, and then you can claim it back also as a withheld federal tax, which is what you would put it as on the 1040. So the 1040V statement you send in with your check or money order for any balance due is the amount owed for any bills of the surety or the straw man. Make money order payable to the United States Treasury, and that's how you got to do it. So, and right there you have your little examples. If anybody needs this book, it's free too, by the way. So just send me an email. That's just on the house. On the house. So you can do the 1099 OID. It's up to you. If you're not in a court case, send the original documents to the IRS and send a copy to the person who sent the bill. The Treasury will pull your credit from whoever made the original offer. Don't worry about your copy when you're in court. It is your account, so you can handle the private matters how you want to. I would suggest that you take care of your federal and state tax bills by doing the yearly 1040 long form filing first to clean up your account, and then these private decisions you must make on your own. And that's what I do too. So, I mean, the best way to start, everybody's trying to figure out how to get free, is to get free of debt. And so that's the biggest thing. So you can get this for free. I mean, I got a better book than this, the Magic Money. It incorporates some of these principles here, but definitely a good book. So and right here, so write the money order on their bill envelope. Do a 1040V for the amount of the bill. Do a 1099 OID for the amount of the bill, and a 1096 for the amount of the bill and the envelope. And so this is different addresses to send. Like if you live in Kansas, they got some addresses there. Then right here we have the 1040 form. So right here you see the way that this is all filled out. I don't usually add any wages or tips or none of that shit, but you can. You know what I'm saying? You can fucking assess them however you feel like you need to with all of these. Then here you got your 1099 OID. See how to fill that out. That shit is clean. That's a pretty good little process right there. Then here you got the 1096. That's going to be your cover letter that goes at the end. And so you're basically going to tally up everything that you have there. You're going to mark off whatever forms that you put down. If you got 1099C, 1099A, 1099B, whatever, OID, all that, you're gonna check off those boxes. Put the amount of forms that you have in there. The total amount of pages are going to go there. And then all the rest of your information right there. That's how you're going to get that done. And right here you got the 1040V. You want to fill that shit out accordingly. I put down at the bottom left hand, I put your social without dashes as the closed account, and then your regular social up in the other box. That's gonna turn it right into a money order as well, right? You put payable to paid to the United States Treasury as well on that. That's what you're gonna want to do because you're paying them with that. And they do take these, by the way. If anybody's gonna tell you that they don't do this shit anymore, they're fucking lying. Then here you got the intent type letter to go with them. So the enclosed 2006 federal tax form is filed to the best of my knowledge. 1099 OID 1040 form is to identify me as the sponsor of the credit that funded the Treasury bill in the first place, proof that a federal tax exists, and proves prepayment of using my credit. Since the IRS is the tax expert and knows the tax laws, in the event you feel this is fictitious or frivolous, please notify me within 10 days and inform me how to file the correct claim for my credit to return to source for settlement and closing and exchange of the Treasury Direct account, which is a social. There, you know what I mean? So that's not a bad letter either right there. I like that. I haven't read this book in a while. So, dear senior supervisor, I did file all the tax forms 1040, 1099 OID, and 1096 that I have records for, but I have lost most of my documents pertaining to tax filings. I request that you prepare and file my federal tax forms 1040, 1099 OID, and 1096 returns that are due. Please file the liabilities as taxable income to me, but to omit filing or posting deductions against the taxable income to make any adjustments to dilute the liability on taxable income, and that is a conflict of interest. The request is for the return to source, settlement, and closing and exchange of any Treasury Direct account number XYZ. So also in the 1099 OID, the correction box at the top should be checked, and also the Treasury Direct number is to be placed as the account number at the bottom of the 1099 OID under the recipient to prevent any identity theft and account being intercepted and deferred if left open. So what I did with the OID is I just put the fucking account numbers there instead. And the shit still got fucking approved too, so there isn't any one way to do any of this again, you know what I'm saying? Just to keep that in mind. So then here we got, if you're not sure about the way to file above, then put all your receipts, 1099, W-2, whatever you want to file in an envelope, proper size. Make sure you keep a copy for yourself and send this letter with the receipts of whatever you want to file with them. And so you can also do this shit with receipts, any old invoices, all that shit. All of that shit is a withheld federal tax, all right? So whatever you want to file with them, which instructs the IRS to file for you, simple and safe, to whomever. I'd put to whom this may concern, you know what I mean? Or to whom this concern, whatever. So as the principal and owner of the Treasury Direct account, your name, I request you file the federal tax forms 1040, 1099 OID, and 1096 for tax periods XYZ in question and any other returns that are due me. Please file the liabilities as taxable income to me. And so this is basically going through the same shit there. Same shit that we just read. So, I mean, once you learn the game and understand that everything is really just a tax, it's all commercial. I mean, it's a game changer to say the least. But it puts you in a position to be able to navigate these waters accordingly. So it is a game of chess. Stop playing checkers with these clowns. That's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.